Okay, hello. This is a short video I'm going to put together on how to do the Portent mission, because this is a mission I used to struggle with a great deal. Because
Excellent. We look forward to seeing your progress.
because I like to play on Iron Man Impossible most of the time, I was finding that I was sometimes rather skip this mission altogether than risk it. Because it was difficult to do honestly. Obviously you can cheat your way through it, but if I was having an honest playthrough, then this was one I tended to avoid. Okay, so on this occasion I'm going to attempt it with 3 squaddy assaults and a heavy. But after watching this, you should be able to do it with pretty much any squad composition, even
Dropship has arrived.
even 4 rookies. I think you could have a go with it. Because
France is sending an urgent mission request.
the trick to it is knowing where all of the trigger points are and where all the drop points are. So that's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so first just dash into this building, it's perfectly safe.
There's been widespread speculation about this ambush on a French military convoy, but we don't have much to go on.
You won't be able to get...
Primary concern is the Council Intel report indicating alien activity in the area.
Shut up, Bradford, you won't be able to get...
And it's just some clue as to what happened here. Objectives updated.
Honestly,
Moving out.
you'd slap them if you could. You won't be able to get as far as that because my heavy happens to have Sprinter in this. I like to play with the random training roulette thing. Okay, so position them at the 4 points next to these 2 doors. And then I will show you which one to use to trigger the 4 thin men.
I'm on it, Commander.
Aye, aye.
Okay. Now, see where my heavy is positioned there? That's the one you should use. Whoever you position on that side of that door, use that one to trigger these 4 thin men. The reason being, these 2 on the right, you want them to drop down there next to each other. If you trigger it in another way, then one of them might go to the roof, and then you'll have difficulty doing this because you won't be able to run and gun up there. You'd have to use a single rocket for 1 thin man, which seems wasteful. These 2, I'm just going to use a rocket on. You could kill them with a couple of running guns, maybe. So long as you leave yourself 2 units with grenades for these 2 on the other side.
That's affirmative.
Okay, so just step within grenade range. Don't go too close because you don't want to trigger the other thin men that are further down this side of the map. Now there, that's where the other one is. So we make sure we get that square and the thin man we can see. That will do it. And the unit in this position should be just in range without moving to grenade them both. I'm just going to change the angle. Okay, so that's the first one's done.
Incoming.
Right, so I'll speed this up while I reposition them.
That's affirmative.
On this occasion I actually tried this in a different way than I'd ever done it before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 assaults and hide them over on the right hand side behind the tank, making sure I don't accidentally trigger the thin men on that side whilst I'm doing it. So yes, I'm going to hide these 2 just over here. I'm going to take them there first just to make sure I don't trigger. Hide them there. But I'm going to trigger them from the roof. There's a particular way to trigger these ones as well. Okay, so next turn we should be able to do this. Okay, now we want to trigger these in this particular way because we want them to both run.
Don't look like they've been hit by alien weapons fire. These men were killed by conventional bullets.
Bradford, one of these days, I tell you, right to the moon. Now, if I was to poke that corner, I would probably trigger them, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to trigger them from the roof by stepping to this square here. This will trigger them in the correct manner, because we want them both to run towards that tank. And you'll notice that they're both in grenade range of each other. So the way I used to do this was by a double nade from the roof. That's another way you can kill them. Or, as you could do, as I've done here, and position a couple of units to be able to get flank shots down there. Now, I play with the absolutely critical setting on, so my flank shots are a lot more consistent in getting kills. If you play without that, then you may need something else to get the kills, because you may not always
Set him up, knock him down.
hit for 6. With shotguns though, you should get some pretty consistent kills on Thin Man. Alright, so let's mock these two up. This is the perfect mission for assaults for me, because I don't like to use assaults in the early game until I get Carapace. I find them a bit glass cannon-y. They tend to die and to trigger things accidentally. So this mission, I think from now on in all my playthroughs, will be my squaddy blooding mission. Will be the one I take them along, because it's the first time I trust them. But only because I've memorized the mission. Okay, so speed this up again. We're going to reposition now for the last group of Thin Men who are at the far left of the map. Making sure they're not to run through any poison. Okay, so we're going to bring these around this side of the building. I'm just going to reload. There's no rush on this, no meld to collect, so you can take as many turns as you like over this. The only annoyance will be Bradford giving you messages you wish he wouldn't. Okay, make sure you don't run through the building at this point, that might trigger them. You'll stay outside the building. And you can step to there quite safely without triggering them. Okay, now, I think at this point I'm going to show you where they are. Okay, so one is there, where the yellow circle is, and the other is there, which means that they can't see the corner of that building, so I can actually step right to the corner without triggering them.
Sensors still indicate life signs in the area, Commander. Objective updated.
If only I could avoid triggering Bradford so easily.
Moving out.
Okay, so you can put 2 units very close to them, and this is the unit I will use to trigger them on the next turn. Okay, so grab the unit you've put there, and you want to move them like so, to that position there. This will trigger them in the correct way. We want them both to move to that truck. Okay, again, they are within grenade range, so if that's more convenient for you, you can do that. If you have snipers with you, you could position one there. Nope, not that. There. One will have a good shot with the height advantage. Should have a very good shot on the 1.5 cover. But the best way, I think, is to have units positioned down here who can then just step into easy flanks. Now, even if they weren't assaults, you can step. One can move to there and get a flank on the one inside, and another could step out anywhere into that area and get a flank on the 1.5 cover. So that's the best way to mop these up without having to rely on rockets and explosives.
Heading to that location.
Okay, because I've got assaults, I've got some pretty consistent damage against Thin Men. If you were using rookies or support or someone with assault rifles, then you may not be guaranteed to get 6 damage. Right, so now we're positioned for the next bit. I would say the hard part is done now. Once you know how to trigger those, it's relatively easy. There's only one other tricky bit that used to give me a great deal of difficulty.
Looks like there's still someone alive over there. We can bring them in for questioning. Maybe we can figure out what happened here.
Bradford, I like your voice that way. Chipmunk version of Bradford. Yes, there's one other point at which it's really easy to trigger 3 aliens at once. I'll show you where that is so you can avoid it. Okay, but the next trigger is going to be when we talk to the civilian, so don't do that until you're in position. Ignore Bradford. Don't go down there yet. Okay, now one of them is going to drop on the roof just next to where my heavy is, and the other one is going to drop on the tank just here in that corner. The thin man is going to drop in there. So because I've got shotguns, I'm going to position just nearby so I can get this kill. But whatever you happen to bring, if you had snipers, you position them on this roof, just wherever you need to be. Okay, so I'll drop down and trigger this now. Don't move him. Don't move the civilian.
Might as well leave me here. I have nothing to say to you
I'm
people.
gonna bring that unit straight back up to the
the only
roof.
witness to survive this fight, and for all we know, he was one of the aggressors. We need to bring him in, whether he likes it or not. New objective received.
Just honky him.
Commander,
Overwatch,
we're
okay.
picking up new contacts moving into the AO.
So this one drops first, he'll absorb all your overwatches. And now we take care of this one. Okay, the next trigger is going to be a single thin man on a balcony over on the first building. I'll show you in a moment. I think. Here we go. Yes, this balcony here. So you want to position everybody over here, avoiding the poison if possible.
This is only the beginning. It's only a matter of
Okay, so get everybody reloaded and in position for a drop down here. Now, as I recall, I forgot the exact square that the thin man drops to, so I positioned my guy above him in the wrong place, but never mind. That won't be a problem for you. Yeah, I thought the thin man was gonna drop on the left of that balcony, but in actual fact he drops on the right, so I've positioned the drop down there on the wrong side.
it's a waste of time.
Because when you drop down, you don't want to be right next to the thin man because there'll be a cloud of poison after him. So you want to shoot him from at least 2 tiles away. Okay, now,
What are you trying to prove?
I don't think this is going to trigger him yet. I wasn't sure where this first trigger point was. No, don't think that's going to do it either. Right, this turn. This turn should do it. Okay, so all the way into that position there, this will trigger the thin man.
Heads up out there. We've got hostiles on the move. Target's still up.
Now this next bit is the bit that always used to give me trouble. Because the next move you make with the civilian can very easily trigger multiple groups. So, right. The very next one to drop is going to be a thin man on top of the roof of that truck, right at the back. I'm not going to move the civilian yet. Him, I don't need to take him all across, I'll just leave him on this roof. So I'll take everybody back over this way now.
Understood. Moving out.
Moving out.
Reloaded.
Okay, nearly ready. Thin man's going to drop on the top of that burnt out truck. I'm just going to move 1 square forward. I'm not sure. I don't think that'll actually trigger him.
Now.
Right. I've got my eyes on.
No. Right, 1 more square with the civilian.
Roger that. Scanning.
Just 1. Very important, just 1. Just hunker him down there.
I'm on it.
Overwatch. Aye, aye.
Strike one. We've got
Here he is.
hostile contacts moving on your position.
Not good.
Okay. Now one more move from the civilian, just one more move, will trigger a sectoid and a thin man on the other roof at the other end of the map. So you can see how easy it is, what a trap they set, basically, that you would trigger that thin man at this end, as well as two more aliens at the other end of the map. So that was something that used to give me a lot of trouble, because I would be splitting my team up to deal with these multiple threats, and without needing to, you could have actually dealt with them individually by not triggering them all at once. Okay, now when the first thin man to drop on this roof will be in that position there, so I would like to put somebody in that position, so I have a flank on him. I also like to put somebody there, so I've got a backup shot just close enough to have a good shot, but far enough away that I'll avoid the poison cloud. Okay, so you want everybody up on this roof now except the civilian. Yeah, we're very nearly done.
Moving to position. We're green to go.
Okay, now I could move him there to trigger these two, but just to show you that one tile will do it, I'm going to go there.
Looks like the aliens are sending in
Here they are.
reinforcements, Commander.
So that's how easily you could have ended up with 3 aliens triggered at once. They were so spread out you would struggle to Overwatch trap them. This mission tends to come so early that you don't really have any other efficient means of dealing with Overwatch. You may not have suppression, you may not have like reflexes, anything you can reliably use to cancel things Overwatch if you need to reposition. So knowing where to position beforehand is quite important. And obviously not triggering too many at once. Right, we're almost there. I'm going to move him because the next thin man to trigger on the roof will land on the spot that he's stood in now. So I'm going to move there, so we'll have the flank on it, and he'll also have shots down at through the skylights at thin men on the ground from there as well.
Got my eyes on.
Okay, so I'm not sure if this is a trigger or not.
Affirmative. Covering now.
Nope. Next move.
I feel, Commander.
Okay, so move to here. We'll trigger one on the floor, I think.
Hostiles are inbound, Commander.
If you get this mission a little bit later in your campaign, you might even encounter a muton at this end of the map, but I'm only partway into the second month here, so I don't think that's going to happen on this occasion.
On Overwatch.
Okay, now here I think I actually make a mistake. I moved too far here and trigger 2 at once. It won't matter, but you can trigger these next 2 separately
Commander,
by just
we've got
moving
fresh contacts approaching the area.
half that distance instead. So we've got one on the floor, and also the one on the roof is triggered. Yeah, so that could be avoided. You could trigger these 2 individually, but not a problem anyway.
Oh yeah.
And that, I think, is all she wrote. Just check to be sure, but I think that might be all of them now. If there are any more, then they'll be on the floor. There shouldn't be any more on the roof now.
Reloaded.
On Overwatch.
Roger that. Skip.
Right, so I'll just get him within dash range of the exits. That should do. And if we don't see anything now, then it's all over.
I feel, Commander.
Got my eyes on.
And we're done. Right, well, I hope that was helpful. It certainly helped me to be able to...
You're still not getting anything from me.
Excellent work, Commander. Our friend here might be uncooperative at the moment, but I have a feeling a talk with Dr. Valen will change his tune.
She's obviously very sinister, this Dr. Van. Yeah, so I can honestly take this this mission on now on my playthroughs without having to fear it anymore. So hopefully you won't have cause to fear that either from now on.